West Ham Massive are pleased to support Irons Supporting Food Banks. They are a group of West Ham United fans and friends inspired by the work of other football fan food banks around the country. They collect food and cash donations for Newham Food Bank in Beckton, who supply 7 distribution centres in the borough 7 days a week, and hand out several hundred 3-day emergency food packs every month to families in need. They are also working with other groups to improve conditions for vulnerable adults and children in the Newham and Essex communities. They are supported in their efforts by West Ham United, the WHU Foundation, LS185, London Legacy Development Corporation, Newham Council, Barking and Dagenham Council, the Met Police, Spire London East Hospital, and a large number of West Ham and football fans. You can help by making a donation to their Just Giving page, the link for which you will find in the description section of the video details of this stream on YouTube. Thank you for your support. Come on, you Irons. Oh, hang on a minute, hang on. See, this is what happens. There you go. As if by magic I appeared, just like that. Anyway, like I say, I can always edit this crap out. You'll never know that I cocked up. Anyway, welcome to the West Ham Massive, ladies and gentlemen. As I always implore you to do, and it's a common thread amongst my streams, please don't forget to like, comment on, and share this stream to your social media platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. Make sure you hit that bell icon for alerts of new content. Click all. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you very much indeed for your support in this matter. We are here to discuss the goings-on at the London Stadium tomorrow, 3 o'clock kickoff. Fancy that, 3 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday. That's going to be a rarity as the European competition hots up, as we know from the previous 2 seasons. And it's West Ham United against Sheffield United, the Hammers versus the Blades. Obviously a fixture that has a little bit of spice to it, a little bit of bad blood that goes back to the 2006-2007 season when there were 2 Argentinian players during the course of that season that we signed. One of them didn't quite work out, Javier Mascherano, but the other one played a key role in us staying up that season. And there is a case to be had, an argument to be had, certainly coming from the Steel City of Sheffield in Yorkshire, to say that the player that was the catalyst behind us staying up that season at Sheffield United expense really shouldn't have played, and all the rest of it. Whatever. He did. We stayed up, and they hated us ever since. In fact, I'd argue they probably hate West Ham more than they hate Sheffield Wednesday. I'd argue that that's the case. Probably more than they hate Sheffield Wednesday, more than they hate Leeds United. They hate West Ham United just off of the back of that. It's a shame, because tomorrow, when the assembled hordes of these flat-capped Yorkshiremen armed with their black puddings and their whippets down their trousers, well, the only thing they're going to have in the food kiosks is corned beef, which is probably going to go down like a lead balloon. But do you know what? We've got a sense of humour in the East End of London. So, tough shit, really. So, anyway, and I probably should say, I should have got this bit out of the way at the beginning, but you've probably worked out, given the fact that I've already said shit, that if adult language offends, ladies and gentlemen, don't watch this. You might want to go somewhere else, because I might say something, it might just slip out. And I don't mean it. I don't mean to be offensive, but if I am, I don't really care. I don't fight the battles. It is what it is. Right. let's get this out of the way. Referee is Graham Scott. The assistant referees are Timothy Wood and Mark Scholes. Don't know if he's got anything to do with Paul Scholes. Probably not. The fourth official even is Keith Stroud, the poor sod who stands between the two managers and gets it in the ear hole from both of them. And he's not, all he's doing is he's standing there making sure the sub's going on. Horrible job. Wouldn't like to do it. Keith Stroud has got that gig. The VAR is Darren Bond, and his assistant is Stuart Burt. Let's have a quick look in the comments section and see who is hanging around. Charlie, there he is. Hope you are well. He goes on to say that Mascherano was just a shit Hayden Mullins, let's be honest. Isn't that incredible? When you stop and think about that, Hayden Mullins can turn around to his grandchildren and turn around and say, I was a Premier League footballer. And now that will be impressive. And he'll turn around and say, and I kept a guy that went on to win basically everything in club football with Barcelona after he left us. I mean, he went to Liverpool and then he went to Barcelona, of course. And he basically won everything. He won the league, he won the Champions League, he won the World Club Championship, he won everything. I kept him out of the team. You're joking, Grandad, but he was one of the best players of his era. Yeah, I kept him on the bench. Incredible. Some would say if adult language offends, then fuck off, you soft cunt. Yes, I'm going to say it. You might have asterisked it out. I couldn't give a shit. It's my channel. I'll say what I like. If people don't like it, there's the door. Anyway, I know you'll stay around because I've said a lot worse than that to you, and you still come. You still turn up. Right. Few little nuggets of information. So if anybody's sort of wondering about the sort of like any insights as far as this fixture is concerned, obviously, as I say, I've referenced the reason for the needle. I mean, there wasn't really, I don't think, a great rivalry up to that point, not that I can remember. But obviously, since then, there's obviously been the Tevez affair, which they've never, ever gotten over all these years later. Give it up for fuck's sake. You know, there's more important things in life. But a couple of little insights for you, ladies and gentlemen. So having won just one of their first 6 Premier League games against Sheffield United between 1994 and 2020, with 2 draws and 3 defeats sandwiched in there, we have completed the double over the Blaze the last time we met them in season 2020-2021. So how do you like those onions? Sheffield United, however, have won just one of their last 10 away league games against us, with 4 draws and 5 defeats, picking up a 2-0 win in the Championship in January 2005. Charlie wasn't even born then, I don't think. We have lost our last 2 league games, however, as we go into this fixture. We've lost 3-1 to both Manchester City and Liverpool. To be fair, probably that was on the cards. Our last run of 3 consecutive Premier League defeats was in April, May, and also included defeats to both Manchester City and Liverpool. Is that an omen? I don't know. Maybe. I don't believe it is. Sheffield United suffered their heaviest ever league defeat last time out. They lost 8-0. 8-0 to Newcastle. Only one side in Premier League history has lost by 8 goals or more and then won their next game. Was it against us? No, it wasn't. It was Wigan doing so in November 2009. I'm going to swear here again, ladies and gentlemen. They lost to Spurs, but they then won 1-0 against Sunderland in their next game following that. Now, wouldn't it just be typical West Ham? Typical West Ham for a team to get smashed off the park, 8-0. And most people would be sitting there rubbing their hands going, oh, come on, let's get... Do you know what? I'm not too sure I feel the same way. It's like they're a wounded animal. They're going to come and they're going to sort of like really look to be defensively solid and right that particular wrong. I'm not saying that means that they're going to get all 3 points. I'm not even saying that it will mean they get 1 point. But I will say I don't think that we're going to see an absolute capitulation of that magnitude. I really don't. Not in 2 consecutive games. And if they do, I suspect that their manager's probably going to be off down the Kermit and picking up his P45 a bit sharpish. Anyway, we have won our last 6 Premier League games against newly promoted sides since losing 1-0 to Nottingham Forest last August. I was there. I was there in the City Ground. That was my daughter's first Premier League game away from home. it didn't go well. Declan Rice had a penalty saved. We should have won that game 4-1. We lost it 1-0. But there you go. It is our longest ever winning run against promoted teams in top flight history as far as we are concerned. So there's a few little insights for you, anyone. So Charlie says, let's have a look at a few of the comments. He says, I bloody wish I'm 30 next week. Well, a little bit of artistic license on my part there may well be. Hello, Chris. Welcome aboard. I hope you are well. Tell your friends that we're here. Your burgeoning black book of contacts. Let them know about me. I don't particularly care if they're a West Ham fan. Come one, come all. I'm a nice guy. At least I try to be. People might think I'm a wanker, but that's up to them. 9-0 is not for everyone. My first game, as people that have seen me before and have heard me say this might well be aware, my first ever game watching West Ham United live was 10-0. Berry. Charlie says, I'm worried about this game just because everything says it should be a walk in the park for us. We don't tend to do those, though. And you make a very pertinent point. I have had it many, many times where there's a fixture you look at and you think that should be West Ham all over. But we're West Ham. I remember one year, I think it was in the early time of the Premier League. I've got a funny feeling it might have been when Mike Walker was the Everton manager. So it was probably about 94, 95, something like that. Yeah, it must have been 94 because Everton won the FA Cup in 95. Joe Royle was the manager, and I'm pretty sure it was Joe Royle that followed Mike Walker in. So Mike Walker would have been around about 93, 94, and I'm pretty sure that they were on a really bad run of form. And if Kent's in, he'll probably corroborate this. And they were getting beat every single week. They started the game getting beat. They looked like they couldn't beat a fucking egg. Enter West Ham. Game at Goodison Park. You probably know the rest. Anyway, Rani Bubble, hope you're well, mate. I echo that feeling. We should be looking forward to this, but I'm strangely nervous about tomorrow. As I say, it's West Ham, mate. You're a West Ham fan, and that's the way it works. Charlie says, I'm a lovely wanker. Well, that's very kind of you to say so, my friend. Very kind of you to say so. Rani also says, funnily enough, many years ago, Sheffield United at Upton Park was the first game I took my daughter to. Really? There you go. Awful game, struggled to a 1-0 win. Can't believe she wanted to come back after that. Was that when we was in? Is that when we was in the Championship, Rani? I don't know. Was we in the Championship under Pardew? That rings a bell. I might be misremembering, but I got a funny feeling I remember that game myself. And if it's the fixture that I'm thinking of, yeah, it wasn't a classic. It has to be said. Right. Let's share a few other little bits and pieces with you. Just bear with me while I just press some buttons and make it look like I'm actually sort of half competent at this sort of malarkey. Right. Okay. So there's the Premier League table. I believe you can see this now. There you go. Right. So I'll tell you what, I'll just go full screen with it just for a moment. You don't have to watch my ugly mug, and then I'll just stop this from going across. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Premier League table. And there we are, resplendent in seventh. However, as I say, 2 defeats in our last 2, but probably to be expected because it was against the teams that currently occupied first and second. And we never do well at Anfield, let's be completely honest. So let's have a look. We win tomorrow. If we do, Sheffield United, we probably should be the favourites. Definitely should be the favourites, I would argue. So that if we win, takes us on to 13 points. Who knows? That's possibly, it's not going to be enough to get us into 5th, but possibly if Villa don't get a good enough result, could put us into 6th, and then we're sort of, if we get sort of fortunate with the teams that are 5th upwards, we can gain a little bit of ground on them. Who knows? Who knows? Couple of other little things just to share with you. Hang on, let me just press that button, and then I can pop back onto the screen like that, and then I can get the banner going again. Let's just have a little look here. Evening. Hope you are well, Joan. Hope you are well. She found us the other day as if by magic. Warnock was their manager. Oh, right. Okay. Well, Warnock was the manager when the Tevez thing kicked off in 06-07. Was he the manager then when we was in the champ? He might have been, because he was there for a couple of years, as I remember. So old Colin might have been there. And if people don't know why people call him Colin, the reason they call him Colin is because if you take the letters of the name Neil Warnock and jumble them up, you get Colin Wanker. I kid you not. Try it. It works. It really does. So anyway, so we got a little bit of team news here. Looking at the injury list for the respective teams, basically, as far as we're concerned, the only one that we've really got on the medical table is Aaron Cresswell, hamstring injury that he got a couple of weeks back. Let's have a look at Sheffield United, though. Now, I'll tell you what, their medical room, very, very busy at the minute. Let's go through it. Max Lowe with an ankle. Ben Osborne with a groin problem. Rhian Brewster with a thigh problem. Reece Norrington Davies with a thigh problem. Also looks like Daniel Jebison's going to be out with a, quotes, unspecified health concern. I don't know what that is. It sounds like it could be serious. He's a young lad, so hopefully he's back on the mend soon. John Fleck, he's back in training following his broken leg. Not too sure if he's going to be involved, however. George Baldock, calf problem. William Asula, muscle problem. They might be available. It's going to be touch and go with them. One little thing that could be a little crumb of comfort for the Blades will be the return of their striker, Ollie McBurney. He had a 1-game suspension for seeing red with 2 bookable offences, which came against the Spuds. Now, for me, and you guys are in the live chat, let me know your thoughts on the starting lineup. As far as I'm concerned, here is the lineup that I rather suspect will take to the pitch, or what I'd like to see as a West Ham fan that wants to see a little bit of positivity. So I would go with Alphonse Areola in goal. Now, Fabianski, as me and my brother have said on this channel many times, Fabianski really can feel quite aggrieved that he's not been involved in the Premier League this season. He's done nothing wrong, really. But we've got a goalkeeper there that's younger. We've got a goalkeeper there that's being paid a lot of money, that we paid a big transfer fee for. French international, World Cup winner. And Fabianski's obviously getting to a point in his career where he's probably on the wane. Still a fantastic goalkeeper, though. But I think that the time had come for Areola to make his way into the starting lineup in the Premier League. And so it's proved. And you know what? He's taken the opportunity. He's grabbed it with both hands. He's been absolutely fantastic. So let's do the fullbacks now. I think Emerson's fairly certain to be the starting left back. I mean, who else reasonably could start there? I mean, you could potentially put maybe Naif Gerd there. In theory, you could put Angelo Ogbonna there. But I would say no. There is also a case, maybe Ollie Scholes, could he play there? No, I suspect it will be Emerson. And I think that Emerson, again, is another player that I think has done really well this season. We brought him in last season. I had my doubts as to whether he would be someone that would be up to the grade. He's surprised me. He's proved, and when you look at his trophy cabinet, you've got to sort of say, actually, half decent. Anyway, so if we move across to right fullback, again, I don't really think that there's going to be too many shocks here. I think it has to be Vladimir Kufal. He's getting back to what I believe to be is near his best. If he, maybe even he is at his best, or the best that he can achieve right now. Maybe the version of Vladimir Kufal that we saw when he first turned up at London Stadium is maybe gone, but he's still a very decent right back. Last couple of games, obviously the game against Liverpool, Anfield, the game against Man City at London Stadium, he was the guy that put in the assist for both of the goals for James Ward-Prowse in the game against Man City and Jared Bowen in the game against Liverpool. So I don't see that he's not going to make the starting lineup. Kurt Zouma with the armband will be one of the centre-backs. Now, so Thilo Kehrer, you could have it as his partner. I don't think that's going to happen. Naif Aguirre could be his partner. I wouldn't. I would have I think the time has come for Konstantinos Mavropanos to make his Premier League start, his first Premier League start, and for him to be the partner of Kurt Zouma. Now, I don't really see that it's a massive problem for one of those to play as the left centre-back. They're both primarily right centre-backs, but I don't think that it's as big a deal with centre-backs switching over as it is with full-backs playing on the opposite wing. It can be for some. I mean, traditionally, Craig Dawson never liked being the left centre-back. He always played on the right, to the best of my recollection. But I really don't think that if you turned around to Mavropanos and said, right, you've got an opportunity of making your start here, but you're going to have to play on the left of the centre-backs, I don't think he'd cut up rough. I think he'd turn around and say, I'm taking the opportunity, thank you very much, and rightly so. Okay, so let's move into midfield. Now, I think that David Moyes is going to deploy a 4-2-3-1. I don't think there's any real shocks there. Personally, I'd like to see him go 4-3-3 or maybe mix it up a little bit, because I think with Sheffield United, they're normally a team that deploys in what was the formation they played against Newcastle? I believe they play three at the back normally. Yes, they did. They played a 3-4-2-1. They normally play a 3-5-2, 3-4-3, whatever sort of hybrid formation, whatever, something along those lines. So I actually would have been quite interested to see how we would have gone matching them up as a three in the back, three at the back. Do we have the players to do it? Well, only one way we're going to find out. But I think it'll be 4-2-3-1. Edson Alvarez, for me, has to be a starter. He is one of the first names on the team sheet as far as I am concerned, alongside James Ward-Prowse. Now, again, one of the first names on the team sheet. He, for the first time in his Premier League career in claret and blue against Liverpool, he had his first game where he neither had a goal nor an assist, which, you know, given that that was his sixth Premier League game, so he'd gone 5 Premier League games consecutively for West Ham, either a goal or assist in every match. Absolutely superb consistency. And he's really sort of taken to life in the East End. And he's given us something that we haven't had basically since the days of Dimitri Payet, where we're getting a set piece, whether it's a free kick, whether it's a corner, and there's now a real almost expectation, I would suggest, that we're going to get an opportunity. If not, there's actually going to be a goal that's scored. And as I say, that hasn't really happened since Payet was doing his stuff. So, okay, so that's the double pivot. That's the shield in front of the back four taken care of. Now, who's going to play in front? Now, I rather suspect that on the left will be Lucas Paquetá. Now, do I think that's his best position? No, not really, but he's played that role quite effectively. So I wouldn't be surprised if Paquetá is the one that plays on the left. I would also suggest that on the right, it's pretty nailed on that it's going to be Jared Bowen. The question is, who is deployed in the other midfield berth? Now, I think that you could make a case for a number of potential candidates, but the one that I think is going to win out is probably not going to be a massive shock to anyone. It's Thomas Souček. Now, I think he's coming for an awful lot of criticism over the last 2 seasons, and I've been one of his detractors. And I think that I stand by every criticism I made of him in those 2 seasons. I don't shy away from it. I think that he, compared to what he was when he walked through the door, the last 2 seasons, very, very poor. However, I do recognise there might be mitigating factors to that, and one of those mitigating factors is our former captain Declan Rice, and obviously him wanting to evolve. And I think that the sacrificial lamb, was the collateral damage, if you will, was Thomas Souček. You look now, and we have a much more better balanced midfield, and he's now getting back to doing what he did so well in those first couple of seasons and getting on the end of things and really causing a nuisance in the final third, getting goals, just basically being a pain in the arse, really, as far as the opposition backline is concerned. So I think it will be Thomas Souček, and then you've got a decision to make as who do you play up front. Now, I think we're going to see Michail Antonio. I think we're going to see Michail Antonio. However, it wouldn't altogether shock me if Mohamed Kudus actually starts as the 9. I don't know what you guys think about that. Antonio or Kudus? Which one is going to start as the 9? I wouldn't be surprised if it is the Ghanaian international. I really wouldn't. I think that it might be that this could be a game where David Moyes might look at it and go, well, look, we're the home team. We're playing against one of, in theory, with all due respect to them, the weakest teams in the Premier League. And they're just coming off the back of an 8-0 defeat. Maybe this is actually quite a good game just to give Mickey a little bit of respite and have a look at Kudus as the number 9. Maybe. Or alternatively, maybe you play Bowen as the number 9 and you put Kudus in the wing. They could be sort of like a very fluid, moving pair, if you will, interchangeable. That's what I think. Be very interested to know what you guys think. You might sit there and think that selection is nowhere near what David Moyes is going to put out. We'll see. We'll see at 2:00 tomorrow afternoon, an hour before the kickoff. It'll all be revealed. Anyway, let's have a little look. Rani comes in. He says, been racking my memory. Would have been around about 2003-ish. I'll tell you what, it's funny you say that because I have also got something here and I will share this with you now. Right? So if I press that button and then press that button. Right. Okay. Let me just get rid of that just real quick. And then I'll go full screen with that and I'll get rid of the banner. So this is our record against Sheffield United in our entire time that we've played them, which stretches back to New Year's Day, 1924. Charlie, I wasn't born then. Before you say anything, I wasn't born then. I wasn't born for another 51 years. Anyway. Games won 32, games drawn 21, games lost 38. They have historically had the upper hand against us. Now, 2003, let me just wind through. Let's have a look, Rani, because this might now jog your memory. So let's have a little wee look. So I'm guessing it was at Upton Park, mate. I'm guessing it was at Upton Park. So let's have a look. So 2003 was a 0-0 draw. That's probably the fixture that I was remembering because I remember it being an early season affair, and that would have been early in the season. That was a drab 0-0. Then we've got a 2-1 win there. What else? 0-2, 1-1, 1-1. Ah, right. Here we go. That was actually the season that we went toe-to-toe with them, Tevez, whatever. It was the 25th of November 2006. Whether it's that one, but it's the only one around that time that was a 1-0 home win. Let's have a little look, see if this jogs your memory. So Mike Riley was the ref. 34,454 was the attendance at Upton Park. Hayden Mullins scored the goal in the 36th minute. Is this bringing anything back to you? The lineup that day was Rob Green in goal, Danny Gabidon, Paul Konchesky, Jonathan Spector, Anton Ferdinand, Hayden Mullins, Lee Bowyer, Matthew Everington, Nigel Reo-Coker, Carlos Tevez. There you go. That's all the people from Sheffield that's turned off if they were watching in the first place. And Bobby Zamora. Substitutions were George McCartney for Danny Gabidon on the 64th minute, Teddy Sheringham for Carlos Tevez on the 66th minute, and Marlon Harewood for Bobby Zamora in the 73rd minute. Sheffield United, on the other hand, Paddy Kenny was in goal, and their outfield division consisted of Claude Davis, Derek Geary, Phil Jagielka. That's the guy that David Moyes said was a better defender than Rio Ferdinand. That's debatable. Rob Cosluk, Mikel Ledgerwood, Keith Gillespie, Nick Montgomery, Alan Quinn, Nicky Law, and Rob Hulse. The substitutions were Steve Cabot for Nick Montgomery on the 59th minute. At the same time was also Christian Narde for Alan Quinn and Colin Kazim Richards for Keith Gillespie on the 76th minute. There were 6 yellow cards dished out in that match. 2 for West Ham, 4 for Sheffield United. We, as it says there, league position was 15th for us at the end of the season. Poor old Sheffield United finished 18th. Never mind. But the thing is, now I kind of lose a little bit of sympathy for Sheffield United for one very key reason. Where is it? Let's have a look. It's basically off of the back of this fixture here. So the 14th of April in that season, we went to Bramall Lane and we got smashed 3-0. Now, at that point, from memory, I think we were 10 points adrift with about 5 games left. I'm pretty sure that's about right. Well, if you can go and lose from that position your Premier League status with that few games left, as far as I'm concerned, you've brought it on yourself. Now, it might be that I'm being really harsh when I say that. I'm just saying how I feel. I don't think that any team should ever go down from that position. I think it was 5 games to go. They were 10 points away from us. And we managed to stay up on that last day with Carlos Tevez scoring at Old Trafford in the rain, 1-0. And they, I think, from memory, got beat. Was it 2-1 by Wigan, who were also in the relegation dogfight that year? So I got no real sympathy for them. I can understand why they're pissed off. I think if the roles were reversed and they'd have stayed up, we'd have gone down, and there was a question mark over the eligibility of one of the players that played a key role in them staying up, I think I'd be fucking asking a few questions. But you know what? That's not the way it planned out, and I really don't give a fuck. Never mind. Right, let's have a little look. Joan says, good chance to see Kudus up front. I'd play him. Yeah, why not? Like I say, if you can't tinker around with things, and as I say, either Kudus up front or Bowen up front and play Kudus on the wing, give Mickey a little bit of a rest. Let's try it out. Let's try something different. You never know. We might stumble across something where we go, oi, oi, that's actually pretty decent. Rani says, like your team in the main, personally, I would keep Aguirre in and swap Kudus for Souček, but understand Souček's claim in the team. Absolutely. I think, look, it's one of those. I'm not turning around and saying, the team that I've sort of put out there is going to happen. I'm not even saying it's the team that I would necessarily pick myself. I think it's what David Moyes will probably go with. I do think that possibly Aguirre might get a stay of execution, but does he deserve it? Probably not, I would suggest, but that's just my opinion. Just think Kudus will win 3 kicks, but see Souček winning headers. Yeah, well, think of it like this. Kudus with his running, his direct style, quick feet, gets 3 kicks. James Ward-Prowse takes it. Who's on the end of it? Thomas Souček. Bang, bang, bang. 3-0. Job done. Let's go home. The only problem is, and I didn't realise this until earlier today, fucking train strikes. I need to check. Because I'm not entirely sure how it's going to affect me. I'm not too sure. Are the trains completely gone? Is it selected routes? I haven't got a clue. Normally, I jump on. I'm quite lucky. I live quite close to the route that High Speed 1 takes. So what I do is I normally get my missus to drop me off at Ebbsfleet International, which is weird because it's called Ebbsfleet International, but since COVID, the Eurostar doesn't stop there. So it's not international anymore. It's complete bollocks. But anyway, so I go to Ebbsfleet International. Train turns up. 12 minutes later, you're in Stratford. It's wonderful. Rani says, yeah, that was it. I was elated to win an early season game. Yep. I thought it was. It was a ball draw. Got the score wrong. Yep. Yeah, as I say, I remember that game because I was bored shitless. It was one of those horrible early season game, 0-0. It was just like real snooze fest. Just going to have a little look here. There's a couple of other little insights that might be pertinent. Right, so also let's have a little look. So we are ranked 7th in goals scored per match so far this season. We've got 1.8 goals per match. We have also won the previous 2 matches against Sheffield United. Yep, I mentioned that earlier. Here's one for you. Alphonse Areola is ranked 2nd in saves per match in the Premier League. 5 saves per match on average. As far as Sheffield United is concerned, a couple of little nuggets of information there. They are ranked 14th in goals scored per match, 0.8. There's a reason why they're struggling. Also, they haven't won a match in 8 attempts. Not good. Wes Fotheringham, he's ranked first in saves per match in the competition, 5.8. So we're going to have the two goalkeepers in the Premier League that will be on the pitch who have made up to that point, up to this game weekend, the most amount of saves on average per match up to this point. Areola for me is the better goalkeeper, but, that's just my opinion. So, anyway, let's get down to it. Final little thing before I disappear and have my dinner, which turned up about 2 minutes before I hit start stream, which is just typical, is what do you think the score's going to be? How do you think the game's going to play out? Do you think we're going to see an open, expansive, attacking display from West Ham? We're going at them. Do you think we're going to see Sheffield United crumbling before our very eyes like a Jacob's cream cracker? Or do you think we're going to see something slightly more or slightly less aesthetically pleasing? Do you think we're going to see West Ham being a little bit more cautious than they should be in a home game against a team that got promoted last season, who are currently at the wrong end of the Premier League and are coming off the back of an 8-0 win? Do you think we're going to see a performance where we come away and go, we should have been more fucking ambitious than that? We should have been absolutely toe to the floor, going at them, and David Moyes has missed an opportunity there. How do you think the game's going to play out? What do you think the score's going to be? What are the tactical nuances that you guys think are going to be brought to bear when we see the two teams clash at London Stadium tomorrow afternoon? Let's have a little look. Joan, West Ham win 1 or 2-0, and she says she thinks it will be an awful game. Hope I'm totally wrong. I'm bracing myself for it. I'll be perfectly honest, because I think that we're probably going to see a version of Sheffield United that is just super, super defensive, really tries to stifle the life out of the game. And I think that possibly that we're not going to, we're coming off the back of 2 wins. There might, 2 defeats, excuse me. Yes, it might be that those really, in reality, were expected defeats, if we're being completely honest. But I think there's a pressure that we've got applied to us in the sense that we're coming off of those 2 defeats. And that then makes this a much more important game, because I do think that if we lose 3 consecutive Premier League games, and obviously, like I say, despite the fact 2 of them you go, yeah, okay, they're probably fair enough. But this one, really, there's absolutely no way, as far as I'm concerned, we should be taking anything less than 3 points. And I make no apologies to that for saying that. But I just got a funny feeling that tomorrow's going to be a really boring fucking game. That it's just going to be one of those games that you look at and go, it'll probably be last on match of the day. I'm actually expecting that it will be a match that's so lacking in any sort of entertainment value that the BBC look at it and go, we can't possibly put that on anything further up the pecking order than last. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping that we absolutely smash them to pieces. I'm hoping that we have a game where we play some real buccaneering football, some front foot football, where we're absolutely tearing them a new one. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't. No, I don't. I think it will be anything but. Rani comes in. He says, if we get an early goal, 3-0 comfortable win, can see it being a struggle, excuse me. Scoring a late goal, their weakness, winning 2-0. Mark Watson, hope you're well, mate. Think Sheffield United will defend deep, so think we'll win by 2-0. They can't defend corners, and this will probably be our best chance of scoring. Yeah, James Ward-Prowse on the corner detail. Although, maybe Benny might get involved if Benny's involved at any point, either starting or from the bench. He obviously was the guy that took the corner in the game against Lincoln in the League Cup midweek. So, we've got a couple of players actually that, when they get it right, can take a decent free kick, corner, whatever, in the likes of Bowen, in the likes of Ben Rama. But James Ward-Prowse is just on another level. His consistency of delivery, it's absolutely on point. And as I say, for me, it's like when we had Prime Payet taking those corners, taking those free kicks, and it was just like straight away their defense is going shit. So let's get them panicking. Anyway, I'm going to knock it on the head there, guys. So unless there's anything that you guys want to sort of bring to my attention, I'm just looking through here. I think I've pretty much covered all of the little nuggets of information. I've given you the referees. I've given you a few little insights. I've told you. Probably the only thing I haven't mentioned is, hang on, I'll tell you, I'll share this with you just for completeness, just so I've given you every shred of information that I possibly can bring to the table, because I like to give you guys a few little bits of value for money, for all the money you pay me, which you, yeah, all right, maybe here's what it is. So there you go. Our Premier League form is obviously the last two being defeats, 3 consecutive wins, then a draw. But if it's expanded out to all competitions, we've obviously got 4 wins and 2 defeats in that particular sequence. However, look at Sheffield United's. There's an awful lot more red there. You've got 2 defeats, a draw, 3 defeats in both in the Premier League and in all competitions. It's pretty poor. And as I say, this is the reason why I basically turn around and say, and I'm making no apologies. If you're watching him from Sheffield, listen, I'm just going to give my honest opinion. And if it upsets anyone, I really don't care. I just think that we ought to be having the expectation that in a home game against a team that's been promoted and is now floundering at the bottom of the Premier League and has just conceded 8 goals, and we are European champions and we're fucking massive, let me say. We are, that we should be smashing these whippet shagging bastards to bits and sending them back to the north to have a black pudding or something. No way Benny takes a corner over JWP. No, I think that default position will always be that it will be James Ward-Prowse if he's on penalty, if he's on set piece duty. But I think that, it's a good option to have, another string to the bow. Rani says, cool, enjoy your dinner. Chinese, mate. Order the Chinese. Mixed meat curry, which, as it says, is mixed meat. I think it's a bit of chicken, a bit of pork, and a bit of beef. So nice little mixture. Special fried rice. I've also got some ribs as well. I like a nice barbecue spare ribs. Very nice. Joan says, cheers, Gatesy. Hope you see a Corporal and West Ham win. As I say, I'd like to see a West Ham win. I think I will see a West Ham win, but I don't think it's going to be particularly easy on the eye. I hope I'm wrong. Mark says, good to have you back. It's good to be back. I mean, you probably don't know. I don't know whether you do. I've actually been back for about 2 weeks now. I mean, if you look on the channel, there's obviously videos that are there. Mark, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure that you've hit the bell icon that says, I've just seen your comment there, Rani. I'll get it up in a sec. Make sure you've subscribed. Make sure you've hit the bell notification and clicked all. And then obviously you'll get the little notification that comes up that will tell you when any content has been added to the channel. Guys, and also don't forget, if you're watching this on Facebook or on Twitter, it really does help if you could just, before this packs up or before you go pack up, whatever, that you just pop across to the YouTube channel and just hit that thumbs up. It doesn't cost you anything, but it actually massively helps the algorithms move in the right direction, and we get the channel out to places that otherwise it wouldn't. Sounds a simple thing. It means absolutely everything. It really does. At the minute, last I looked, I think we're on 91 subscribers, which, given that we're only a fairly new channel, I'm actually pretty happy with. And I'm not looking to sort of change the world. I'm just looking to do my own thing. And yeah, so 91 subscribers. If we can get that up to 100 by the time we come back for the Sheffield United review, I'd be more than happy. So if you guys know any West Ham fans, then what you can do is you just click share and just sort of like send your pals a WhatsApp message and say, yeah, give this a subscribe. This guy's mildly entertaining. My brother was hoping to be here, but my brother's, I don't know, he's probably gone to a strip club knowing him. Did I just say that out loud? Sorry, Ben, I didn't mean to. Love you, really. Okay, right. That's probably it from me. I've said enough. I've rambled on for 45 minutes and 32 seconds, whatever. Thanks for your time, guys. Really do appreciate it. I'm going to disappear, have me dinner. I'm going to go to the game tomorrow with 2 of my 3 kids. And hopefully it will be an enjoyable weekend, followed by my daughter's playing a game. Just backtrack a sec. My daughter's back playing for our local non-league football team, and they've won their first 3 games. She's played in defence. She's sort of like alternated between right back and centre back. And they've won their first 3 games, 3 clean sheets. And she got last week, and I missed it because I was in Lille for the Rugby World Cup. From right back, she got 3 assists in an 8-0 win against a local rival. Super proud of her. But she'll, I sort of give her little nuggets of advice from the touchline, and she just looks across with a very disdainful look and tells me to do one. But although she loves me in her own way. Anyway, I'm going to disappear, guys. Thanks for joining us. Come on, you Irons, and we'll see you again when we do the review of this particular match. And then all I need to do is press the button and give you this. The West Ham Massive are pleased to support Irons Supporting Food Banks. They are a group of West Ham United fans and friends inspired by the work of other football fan food banks around the country. They collect food and cash donations for Newham Food Bank in Beckton, who supply 7 distribution centres in the borough 7 days a week, and hand out several hundred 3-day emergency food packs every month to families in need. They are also working with other groups to improve conditions for vulnerable adults and children in the Newham and Essex communities. They are supported in their efforts by West Ham United, the WHU Foundation, LS185, London Legacy Development Corporation, Newham Council, Barking and Dagenham Council, the Met Police, Spire London East Hospital, and a large number of West Ham and football fans. You can help by making a donation to their Just Giving page, the link for which you will find in the description section of the video details of this stream on YouTube. Thank you for your support. Come on, you Irons.